going on, everybody? This is Seth Arnold here in my Chicago college dorm. We're going to go through my records. Carole King, Tapestry. My mom put me onto this one. If you care about Motown or just in general singer-songwriter music, absolute essential. Incredible album. My favorite John Coltrane album is part of the Coltrane Quartet called Ballads. One of the first jazz albums I ever fell in love with. This is Skylarkin by Grover Washington Jr. I found this in Nashville at some weird underground record shop, which by underground I literally mean like I went underground into this weird, really sketchy record shop. But it was dope, and they had a bunch of cool jazz stuff, and that album's awesome. I'm gonna want to talk about every single one of these. Definitely gotta talk about this guy. Coloring Book, Chance the Rapper. Maybe the most important album in my lifetime in terms of like musical development. This album came out when I was 10 years old. I remember listening to it on SoundCloud because I didn't have Apple Music. It was the second rap album I ever listened to fully, top to bottom, and I just remember being like, man, I want to make music that makes people feel like this. So this album's incredibly important and Chicago classic. Our boy Tyler, the Creator's best album, I'll argue with anybody. Incredible track list, incredible production, sounds like a Disney movie. Incredible rapping, incredible features. Flawless rap album of the 2010s. A Charlie Brown Christmas, absolute essential. Vince Guaraldi, classic. Saba, Few Good Things. In my opinion, his best album. I went to John Walt Day like 2 or 3 years ago when he performed 2012, and I cried. So that album's absolutely incredible. Forward, Jordan Ward. I think he's from St. Louis, but he's just a really incredible next logical step if you like Smino, No Name, Saba, and that whole camp. Then this guy is gonna be for you. Forest Hills Drive, J. Cole, another classic rap album of the 2010s. Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Kanye's kind of tripping right now, but this album is maybe in my top 5 albums of all time. Absolutely incredible. Mac Miller, Tiny Desk on vinyl. Again, super geeked when I found this. Absolute classic Tiny Desk. One of the best albums of all time. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. No words need to be said. That album is unbelievable. This Old Dog, Mac DeMarco. I only really fell in love with Mac DeMarco in the past like 2 or 3 months, but I am fully into it. One of the best musicians alive right now. Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love. Another absolute classic. I grew up in the 2010s, so all these albums that came out in that time are super important, especially specifically from 2016 to 2020. A lot of really classic stuff that happened. Speaking of classic, Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar, 2012 release. I don't know if Section 80 is a mixtape or an album, but I think of this as Kendrick's debut album. Obvious classic. Kanye West, Late Registration, a very close second favorite Kanye album. Swimming and Circles, Mac Miller. Circles came at a really important time in my life. And Good News came out when I was in 8th grade and was the first song, I think, ever to make me cry. And I was on the bus going to middle school and I was like, no. Ooh, and arguably the best album here, Jack Johnson and Friends, Curious George, Sing-alongs and Lullabies. Exactly. The first album I ever listened to as a human being that's alive, and nothing but hitters and classics all over this. There's not one miss. Go back and listen to it. Everybody knows Upside Down, but listen to Lullaby and try to not bawl your eyes out. It's not going to happen. My sister got me this for, I think it was my birthday a few years ago. Absolute classic. And I think I have more, but that's all I'm going to talk about right now. Maybe we'll do a part 2 when I get some more and talk about some more. But thanks for listening to me talk about music. Later.